It's been a wild, volatile week in crypto land as news of Russia attacking Ukraine on February 24th immediately caused a sharp sell off in Bitcoin all the way down to the 34,300 area and also rocked markets around the world. However, buyers stepped in and the market reversed just as quickly higher and formed a bullish reversal candle that day. Now, where does that leave us moving forward in the coming days and weeks? That's what we're going to attempt to answer by looking at support and resistance levels of Bitcoin today, as well as some of the top altcoins that may be setting up for potential buy entry in the coming days. When we published last week's Morpheus crypto report on the 21st, Bitcoin was already trending steadily lower after rallying above its 50-day moving average, but failing to hold above it. We had a sell-off that lasted about a week, and the market went sideways for a couple of days. On February 24th, news came out that Ukraine was being attacked by Russia and immediately caused a sharp knee-jerk reaction that caused Bitcoin to plunge all the way down to the 34,300 area. However, buyers saw that as an opportunity and stepped in, causing the Bitcoin and many altcoins to reverse sharply higher. Now, that price action caused what is known as a bullish reversal bar to form because the price closed all the way back up in the prior range, leaving a long legged candlestick down here. And when that happened, you can see we tried to move a little bit higher and follow through on that bullish reversal, but too much resistance overhead. We talked about that in last week's report, how there's a lot of resistance overhead from the 39,500 area all the way up into the low 40,000s. So let's take a look at what happened here over the past couple of days. After the bullish reversal bar, we actually popped up right up to the 40,000 level, up to a high of 40,248. But we pulled back after hitting that because there's too much resistance. Not only is the horizontal price resistance of this yellow line, but notice how that yellow line also converged with the 50-day moving average, the red line. And then we've got the 20-day moving average just overhead, the blue line. So that convergence of the horizontal price resistance around 40,000 combined with the 50-day moving average, the market was not able to overcome that, and Bitcoin pulled back over the past day and a half. However, the pullback that we had on the 27th of February was not that bad, actually. In fact, we held up near the highs of the bullish reversal day. And now, as of today, we're starting to head back up and currently testing the 10-day moving average. Now, one of the most positive things about the bullish reversal on the 24th was the volume that occurred. Notice how we had a big volume surge. This was actually the highest volume we've had in Bitcoin in many months, and it was buy side volume. So that's very significant because it indicates that there was a lot of accumulation and perhaps institutions stepping in to support the price when it dropped to the 34,000 area. More importantly, that low of 34,300 formed a higher low from the prior sell-off that we had back on the January 24th lows of 33,000. We formed a higher low. So in terms of an intermediate term trend, we did form a higher low that seems to be holding. So that's very positive. Now, of course, the next thing we'd want to see happen for the intermediate term trend to reverse would be a higher high above the 45,000 area, but that may take some time to occur. One possible scenario that may occur is in the coming days and weeks is a sideways consolidation to absorb and digest some of the gains of this bullish reversal. Now, eventually, we're going to have to contend with this 20 and 50-day moving average again. And you can see here highlighted in the white circle that the 20 and 50-day moving average is now converging. Both of those are converging with the horizontal price resistance around 40,200. So obviously, this is a very significant resistance level between 40,000 to 40,500, this resistance here. It may take another volume spike for Bitcoin to get back above that level. But if we do get above that level, if we get above 40,500 in the coming days, it's very bullish for the short term. And we'll most likely see a quickly reversal all the way back up to the test of prior highs around 45,000. And then we'll see what the price action brings us then. Now, when I was a new trader, I thought that the market was really driven by news and that bad news would lead to lower prices. But what I didn't understand is that when the market's already going down for several weeks at a time and then bad news comes on top of that, often those extreme moves where we get really far extended away from the 20-day moving average, they often serve as points where people step in and buy. And that's what happened here. And this reminds me of one of the most important rules that I always tell people in the Swing Trader chat room. We say it all the time: trade what you see, not what you think. Because it would have been real easy to think on the 24th that the market's going to sell off and get killed, but that's not what happened. So Trade what you see, not what you think. And when we saw the market reverse and form a bullish reversal candle, we actually started getting back into the market. And now we've got several positions, which we're going to be reviewing here shortly. Obviously, in the coming week, you want to watch this 34,300 level. It's pretty negative if we go below that. But as long as we hold above that level, it's still a dominant higher low on the daily chart. And it'd be much better, of course, if we hold this 37,000 level, which was the short-term pullback that occurred yesterday. So if we can hold this 37,000 level, then the short-term bullish stance remains, although we've got resistance above. So again, we may see some consolidation here, which wouldn't be a bad thing at all. Sideways price consolidation at the highs, especially when it's on declining volume, is always a positive thing. Now, as always, we've been scanning the charts of hundreds of altcoins to look for potential patterns that are showing relative strength that could lead the market higher if Bitcoin starts to reverse. So next, we're going to dive in and take a look at the charts of a few top altcoins with relative strength that may be in play in the coming week, especially if Bitcoin holds up. This is API3. This is a relatively new altcoin, and we really like the fundamentals of this. And we talked about it before, that fundamentals really matter, especially in a weak market, because typically people tend to accumulate the altcoins that have the most real use case and real world growth. And this is a real great product. They actually want to bring decentralized APIs to the blockchain. And you can see here that this is one of the strongest charts in the market right now. Whereas most altcoins have been in a downtrend and following Bitcoin, API3 is actually forming, it's been in a steady uptrend actually now for about a month, and it's now forming a bullish pennant pattern on the daily chart. You can see here we've outlined the pennant pattern. And actually, let's go ahead and zoom into the 4-hour chart so we can see where the potential buy entry might be. So zooming into the 4-hour chart, we can see a little more clearly the pennant and the nice price action. We've got tightening consolidation. And whenever we have this tightening of a consolidation, it's called a volatility contraction. And a volatility contraction typically leads to a volatility expansion. And the longer the contraction, the greater the expansion. And since this is actually an uptrend right now, the odds favor an upside breakout above the pennant. But of course, we don't want to jump the gun. We wait for the price action to come to us. So we're looking at a potential buy entry above the upper channel of this pennant. If you're a Morpheus crypto subscriber, we've listed the exact buy price in today's report. You can see it's above this high here, and note the stop as well. But this is a great looking setup. Again, we need to wait to be patient to wait for a confirmation of a move above this high. We also want to see volume confirm. If we go back to the daily chart, we can see here that there was actually strong volume on the breakout, all these big green bars, and lighter volume on the down days. It's definitely what you want to see. So looking good here, API3. And next up, we've got Solana. This is a layer 1 blockchain play. And this has actually been weak for several months, ever since Bitcoin's been in correction mode. But last year, throughout most of the first half of last year, Sol was actually one of the leaders in the market, very strong. And we could see that leadership return if we start to get some stability in the market overall. But right now, we're seeing a lot of short-term relative strength in Solana. What happened was on February 24th, when everything else sold off, we got an undercut of the prior low from January 24th. But those undercuts are bullish, and because they run all the stops and then attracts new buyers. And you can see we reversed, formed a strong reversal candle. Again, volume surged, huge volume that day, which is really bullish. And more importantly, over the past 4 days, Solana has been showing relative strength to Bitcoin. In fact, it's been holding near its highs of the reversal. And if we drill down into the hourly or the 4-hour chart, we can actually see that relative strength a little bit better. Here on the 4-hour chart, you can see that it's been consolidating and forming a tight consolidation here near its highs after the bullish reversal. So we're already in Solana, and we've got a profit in this from our entry from a couple of days ago. But we're actually looking to add to the position if we can break out above this range up here of this consolidation, because most likely this is going to be one of the leaders, at least in the short term, based on its relative strength. Also notice that Sol is soon going to be testing resistance of its downtrend line that's been in place for a few months, which happens to converge with the 20-day moving average. So you can actually just look at the 20-day moving average, and that's your resistance level, this blue line. So we're actually anticipating a breakout above this downtrend line. The first target would be a rally up to the 50-day moving average around 107, where we'll probably look to take some profits and sell on the strength. As always, we'll notify members with a trade alert if we do that. Next, let's take a look at Atom. Now, what we did with Atom is we zoomed out to the weekly chart time frame, and if you look at the weekly chart, notice how Atom has been holding relatively near its highs despite all the sell-off that we've had in the market over the past several months. Atom's been holding up. In fact, notice how the 50-week moving average has been acting as support. Last week, on the 24th of February, it undercut the 50-week MA and moved back above it. So you need to look at the weekly charts to get an idea of the big picture, because sometimes the daily charts will look a little bit choppy, but the weekly charts show the big picture of what's happening. And these altcoins that have strong weekly charts are often the first to go to new highs as soon as you get strength in the market. So now that we've looked at the weekly, let's zoom into the daily chart. On the daily chart, you can see we've drawn a downtrend line here from the recent highs. And a couple of days ago, we popped above that. And we pulled back, and now we're holding above the 10-day moving average and the 20-day moving average. We've got the 50-day moving average overhead as resistance here, but we're actually looking at a potential buy entry here on this pullback, as long as this pullback holds the 10-day moving average. So this is actually one we're monitoring for potential buy entry. If we do buy it, we will send a trade alert to members and let you know exactly where we're getting in and where the stops are. But this has actually been showing short-term relative strength since that bullish reversal, been rallying higher while Bitcoin and the rest of the market has been moving sideways. Next up is AVAX, which is Avalanche, another layer one blockchain that often moves in sync with Sol. Again, looking at the weekly chart, notice how it's been in a steady uptrend on the weekly chart. In fact, over the past 5 weeks, it's been in a very tight range here that I highlighted in the white. You can see very tight trading range, and that's great relative strength when you look at the weekly chart. Now, if we zoom in a little bit to the daily chart, again, the daily chart looks choppy, but the weekly chart helps show you the big picture. On the daily chart, you can see here we've got a bit of a convergence here with the 20 and the 10 and the 50-day moving averages all coming together and kind of chopping around as resistance here. So we may see a little bit of volatility in AVAX over the next couple of days. We've got a small position still in our portfolio with a tight stop below the low of the 28th of February. But we'll actually be looking to add to this position if we get back above the 10, 20, and 50-day moving averages, because we could see another rally. But in the short term, over the past couple of days, between Sol and AVAX, Sol has been showing more relative strength. So we're actually more bullish short term for swing trade on Sol. But AVAX is definitely one to keep an eye on. Again, had the high volume on the reversal day as well. Next up is FTT, which is the symbol for FTX exchange. And you can see here again, looking at the weekly chart, notice on the longer term weekly chart for the past, it's been about 2 months now, been trading in a very tight sideways range near the highs, very tight volatility contraction. So we're looking for a potential volatility expansion to the upside and breakout if we have further strength in the market. Let's go ahead and drill down to the daily chart. And you can see here that we're not that far from breaking out above this downtrend line. So if we can get above the highs of the past week, confirmation would be a breakout above the $45 level, would break out above this downtrend line. So that'll also put us back above the 10, 20, and 50-day moving averages. So this is another one on our watch list in the coming days for potential buy entry, FTT. Again, we'll send a trade alert to members if we do decide to buy this one. Overall, to wrap things up, again, we're going to keep an eye on Bitcoin in the coming days, watching that 34,300 level as key support, major support, and shorter term support around the 37,000 level, the pullback of February 27th. And on the upside, watch that 40,000 to 40,500 area. Again, if we can get above the 40,500 level, we could see a nice rally, not only in Bitcoin, but in the rest of the altcoin market as well. This bullish reversal candle was very significant with, considering the volume. If the volume wasn't so strong, we wouldn't be that bullish about it. But the volume, speaks volumes. Volume is the gas pedal and the gasoline that fuels rallies. So definitely want to keep an eye on this Bitcoin reversal. And so far holding up, again, near the highs of the reversal day, which is bullish. We'll see you again in our next video. And remember to trade what you see, not what you think.